Welcome to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankar and we are in class 9 of Dhanya Lakshmi painting. Dhanya Lakshmi is one of the Lakshmi avatars that are known for all the positive propensities of life, and this particular word Dhanya refers to crop. So there is crop wealth. That is exactly what she is attracting when we are working on her. And we have been going through this painting for a while now. Let's quickly recap what we have done so far. We did our layer 1, which was a wash. Layer 2 was blocking and filling. Just before the layer 2, we had to do this planning and execution of what exactly are we going to paint on the canvas. Then we did the blocking and filling and moved on to um, what is dark and what is light in the layer 3. That was giving slight angles to the flat image that we had initially created. So we are moving step by step, brick by brick, building into that reality and building into some naturality. Yeah, this is a supernatural element that we are trying to do, but then we try to um, make her look as homely as as close to us as we can imagine. Yeah, so this god and goddess, whatever we believe in, it's all some sort of positive energy, and we want to give it the image of someone or something that we could connect with more. That's the whole idea of giving images, um, this positive energy, some names and some images and such, that we do mostly. So we have given her this beautiful image of little girl from Denmark. And we did the layer 3. Once we did the layer 3, what did we do? The next level was layer 4. Layer 4 was building a lot into details and building depth. That's where things started looking like, are we nearly done? Can we say it's a finish? And so on. Yes. Yeah, it looks nearly done, but there's a lot of things that we need to still do in terms of finesse. And that's what I would say, final nuances. And I call this layer 5 final nuances. And I have mentioned this also in many other videos of mine, that for the purpose of tutorial and understanding, I take you through this journey of making an image that is totally flat, like what kids do, and taking it through this journey until layer 5. But it doesn't really mean that you need to stop with layer 5. You can experiment hyper reality. You can take this to any level that you feel like. Yeah. But I'm going to just show this finesse and mark that as a complete for this painting. So today we are going to kickstart layer 5. Layer 5, one ground rule that I will say is that you will see me using more of linseed oil and less of the color. So what's going to be happening? There's fat over lean. What will happen? It's going to get transparent, which means it's going to really show what I already have and possibly enhance and give the nuance, the effect. That is for many of the elements, including the face and hands and such. But when it comes to the jewelry, when we work on the jewelry, we might do a lot of detailing, because I think for jewelry we only started in the last layer, where we decided where things are to go, what kind of jewelry and such, isn't it? So we will work on jewelry a little more detail level when we come to that. So we start with the face and body coloring first, and then move on to the jewelry when we come to the next class. So the focus will be on body and skin color and her eyes and such today. We are trying to now have a final look at this image. We have grown from this image. We have tried to use to the best possible, the way she looks. Now we need to do the refinement and such. So let's get the colors ready. Yeah. And I would like my palette to have some basic colors ready. I do have some of them in my old palette, but I just want it to be ready as well here. Darker tonalities will be a bit of burnt umber, ivory black, keep ready crimson. Yeah, I think we did use a bit of crimson for her. And nothing to be taken too much of. We are going to use really, really minimal of colors. It's just a refinement. I'll have permanent yellow also ready. Even though I'll use less of this, I think I'll have this ready. Yellow ochre. And I'm going to show you when I mix as well, so not to worry. Vermilion. And a bit of titanium white. Remember I said, from layer 4 onwards, we are going to just use titanium white sporadically, but try to use as much as possible, the skin color that we build as light as possible, and to not rely too much of titanium white, because it might, or if we rely on it, we would have diluted it enough that it's going to build a very tiny or a thin trace of lightness. So that's exactly what I would aim for. I have all the colors ready with me, and yeah, that's how they look. It's a clean palette because I've used the palette for many paintings now. And the brushes, I think I will rely on all the small brushes that I could. Brush numbers 1 flat and 1 round and 0 round, and a 000 brush, micro brushes 0 by 20 and a 0. I think I will stick to these for now. Let's first mix up the colors. Taking a flat brush number 1, starting with the yellow ochre, crimson, pair of yellow, I'm looking for a darker tonality for the highlights and also a lighter tonality. So I want to add a bit more of vermilion as well, blend this in. So it gives me that, kind of maroon or a nice tone, which if I added burnt umber, it will go really dark, and I would want that also in some places. I'm going to work on the lighter tonality first. So adding a tiny bit of titanium white here and seeing where it goes. Only in small parts, slowly, gradually lightening it up. It is, it's like I said, the white could easily twist the color around and make it look dull. We don't want that. Mm. I created the lightest of the tone here. Yeah, it is close to what I had previously. So now I'm going to add, yeah, this is something I want to show you also. I'm going to hold this vertically and I'm going to add the linseed oil with my brush. So when I mix it, it has to be very, much on a flowy consistency, but it should not start dripping. You don't want it to drip. So that's a check, because you want it to be transparent, but if it starts dripping, you know what happens? Yeah, it goes into the places that you don't want the color to be. So this is a check. Hold the palette straight and see. When you're mixing this color, you want to go heavy with the oil. So you do that, but you check if it is dripping. When you think it is dripping, you need to stop. You should not take too much of it. Yeah, shouldn't drip. Until it drips, of course, you can make it thinner if you want. If it drips too much, then take a bit of color to mix again. Start from scratch, maybe. Yes, this is fine now. I'm just gonna check. Yes, it is transparent. It is. It's gonna help me in the process. I can see that. And I'm gonna add a little more of. So I have it ready. I want to check first on the hands where I want the highlights. So I'm just testing it on the hands, and it almost looks like I have done nothing. And that's exactly what I want, because I want it to be used to highlight and help me in the process of establishing shades. So I'm going for the forehead, slightly adding it on the cheek, the chin area, the nose, and also on the around the eye to lighten things up a bit. I guess I have the lighter shades done. We'll work on the details in a short while. So it's again detailing, of course. So the color is kind of, sitting on top of it, really wet. Now I get the micro brush to work on her eye detail. So I wanted to add a bit of, the titanium white mixed with the skin color, the lightest form that we added. So the white isn't totally white. And go over the space around her, pupil to lighten it up and make it transparent. So you can see the bluey eye through. If you cannot, the other thing that you could do is that, if it gets transparent, it is fine. If it doesn't, you can add a bit of the blue as well. So, the blue that I had used for her eyes is actually um, primary blue. So I'm going to add a bit of that. So I'm just touching it because I don't need too much of it. I'm just taking it with my micro brush. That's exactly what I need for both the eyes, put together. I don't need too much of it. So I'm just taking it in my brush like that. And first I'm testing it in the corner here to see the intensity. adding white maybe if I need to lighten it up. And there you go. This is the color that I wanted to go around her eye, the lighter shade of her eye. Yeah, so I get that lighter shade. Now it is really good to add darker shades of gray there, and also this blue, taking a little more of the blue, going for it again and giving some traces of the darker shades there. Mhm. Now her bluey eye sort of shines along. Yeah, I just wanted to show her, bluey eye, highlight her bluey eye. And now I would take a tiny bit of um, ivory black to do the center of her eye one more time. Yes, there you go. And also the contours of her eye, basically just giving a very faint uh, black there because I want it to be on the bluey range only. So I've done that. Yeah, take it patiently. If you do not want to change her eye color, if you're nervous, that is understandable, it is fine. What I'm working on is to, whatever we did was just defining where the colors are going to be and such in the previous, previous layers. But right now we are actually building into her real eye color, adding in a taint of white there, where the light is, coming into her eye. That's the taint of white. Yes. Now her eyes are, the kind of blue that I was looking for. So I have the eyes fixed, and right now we can focus on a little bit on her um, on the details around her eye. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is to have, again with the micro brush, I'm taking burnt umber and crimson. My crimson is already having, it's oozing. Can you see it's oozing down? So I'm not going to add oil just because I know that the crimson is fluid enough, and I have actually added some more of oil around the eye, so it will blend things faster. So it's crimson and burnt umber blend, and that's exactly the color that I wanted to use for the darker portion, and I wanted this skin color's darker version also to be ready wherever I need it. So I'm going to go with this and go around ever so lightly, making a trace of this around her eye and leaving it there for now. And I'm going to use another brush because this one has got the color. I'm going to use another brush that's also a micro brush to just maneuver through and blend that in around that space. Mhm. Adding a bit more of burnt umber in some of the traces, some of the sections to give the essence, give the feel. And then again, taking a bit of the skin color, blending it there because you wanted to tone down also in some places. Really being careful. Where are you toning down and why? I'm just doing the eye, what do you call, the eyelid. So I'm toning down there and keeping it ready for the cool. And now I want to work a little bit around the eye first. Adding a bit of this darker skin tone on the sides of her face where there is shades, the dimple and such, giving that shade a little, and I'm going to start blending them in also. Slowly do not worry too much about, oh, the shade is changing. I worked a lot on the previous layer. Actually, you are working on that previous layer and making it transparent in a way you are using the previous layer to be highlighted even further. Yeah, so that's gonna look even more better in a while. So just take it slow and steady. You're giving that angle the touch that it needs. Sometimes, if it's just the oil to be used to blend things, do that. Going around that neck area, deepening that angle here around her neck and the cheekbone, just beneath her chin and cheek. All these are minute sections, and you are just um, adding a thin layer of the coat. So, meaning what you did in the previous layer is also going to show up. So, you're just blending things in here. We haven't worked on the eyebrow though. We will come to that in a short while. I'm adding slight bit of titanium white here in the centers where I want the highlights to happen. But being very careful with the white. I don't want it to go too much, way too much here. Yeah. The blending goes well. There are two places to work on, which we haven't touched, which will be the eyebrows and also her lips. We are doing our best with the rest of the sections. Yes, we have shading done nicely here. I want to use the micro brush again for the the burnt umber crimson shade to go around her yes. So I did the contour of her, I did a contour of her cheek and chin, and I'm going to go around one more time with her, with blending that in. Yes. Mm-hmm. There with the shading, now it's getting stronger. You can see that, from the previous layer, we are actually evolving. We are using the previous layer also, but in a way that it is beginning to complement a little more of those phrases of shades and such. Giving us nice contours. Now we need to start working on her eyebrows and lips to see how the shades go around. So do we start with her lips now? The darker shade is the crimson and burnt umber that I wanted to use to do the upper lips line with my micro brush. Yeah, that's done. The lighter shade of that is, it's going to have the skin tone also added a little bit. And we know where to go with that. We will just go around and highlight a bit of the lip. Adding a flash of titanium white on the lip and letting that flash, there. Yes. I think the lip line is looking good. We aren't working on her teeth though. We have the white that is established in the teeth area that I'm going to enhance a little bit. And I want to give very tiny, I wouldn't say taking too much of ivory black, very tiny thread of strokes to go to give the feel that there is teeth, just to partition the white from looking like there is a paste of white. So I'm just slightly pulling in with the tip of my brush um, that shade. Yeah, I guess we have her lip kind of defined now. And I want to be very careful with the burnt umber. I have lightened it a little bit with the crimson and take that ever so lightly to give pinches of the eyebrow. So I am not painting the eyebrow, I'm just giving spots to give an idea of hair coming together. So it's not looking like I drew a stroke there. Yeah, it's only the help of spots that I'm trying to establish the eyebrow. We have the lines there so we can see through. And do not draw a perfect eyebrow. You see that it's a kid. So yeah. I guess I kind of have the eyebrow done. Going back to the skin color a little bit to uh, blend things in here. Okay, fine. Looks fine. The eyebrow looks fine. I'm just going to blend things around the eyebrow to smoothen it a tad bit, not too much. Still want it to look that rough. Now ready for the eyelashes. I'm taking burnt umber, minute bit of ivory black, all in this micro brush, going for those strokes. Be very careful, very, very tiny strokes. Oh, yeah. Yes. The under eye also has really minute dots, I would say. I wouldn't bother making strokes there. These are all really minute nuances that you are going to make, and you will suddenly see things changing. Yeah, so just be very slow and steady. Take a break if your shoulder is hurting, and do this. Enjoy doing this, most importantly. Taking that dark tonality that I created for enhancing the nostril holes as well, slightly. That dark tonality again goes around her cheek line here. Mhm. Okay. Ivory black, I'm using it slightly around the cheek here. Continuing the highlight, I'm just tracing a bit of that black boldly, blending it around the cheekbone here and the chin. I don't want it to turn black. I have wet colors there, so I just want to blend that in. So whatever is there, it's just from the tip of the brush, whatever it had, but then it is going on, taking color and blending that color here. Yes. Now I need lighter brush for the upper lip area. The highlight here was missing, so I'm just doing that. I think she looks fab now. I like the look of her. We need to work on her hair also a bit more. Remember, we had started doing some strokes and such around her hair. We need to work on the shine as well. So I'm going to go around taking the burnt umber and ivory black, making some more bolder strokes there. And I want to get some more hairline also going here. I couldn't do it last time, so I'm going to do it now. Mm-hmm. I want to give that curve in the hairline that she has, but we couldn't do it last time. We'll need to go for some strokes of white also to lighten up the strokes and lighten up, give the highlights of her hair strands. Mm. Yeah, kind of looking cool now, and I think I need a bit of titanium white also to go here and give me some angles of shades. And I'm not taking the pure white. I'm taking that skin color, so it's not totally whitey white. Just giving those highlights there. Again, the skin color itself is so light, so you can play around with it if you want, and you can add yellow ochre to make it golden if you want. Yeah, I can do that also here. There goes a lot of strokes here. lightening up, and we are going to work on those strokes again. I'm adding yellow ochre to my brush and just going over those strokes so the color slightly turns. I think it is turning into the color that I want now, slowly yet steadily. Yellow ochre is giving me that angle, and now I think I'm ready to add strokes of burnt umber also there. Burnt umber strokes again on top of them to elevate and just give elevate and give some more angle to that. Beautiful. I think she looks cool right now. I can see that she has got the right temperament of color toning, and I like the way she is looking. Some more of highlighting in the under the lip. Okay, and let's look at how we can shade a little bit on her nose, because I want her to have that brilliant. That is blended well. I want some more angles. I'm just going to play around with it, creating slight darker tonalities around her eye here and playing with it. I will just blend them in with skin color again. It should blend, and it should have a slight angular tonality. So I'm just trying to build that around her eye. I think it is working fine now. Yeah. That's what I wanted. I guess I have it. Yeah. It's fine. I think I have kind of refined the look of her, and I like the way she looks. The smile angle, maybe I wanted to highlight a bit more. If I could do that also and blend that in slightly. boldly adding burnt umber here in the space, the last minute. Okay. Yeah, it comes. I have really made her a little more smiley than, yes, than what she is in the picture. I want her to also smile a little more. So, um, right around the, upper lip, I just want to add a thin line of uh, titanium white in the frame to just bring the upper lip the highlight. And I think right now I'm going to just add some crimson as a center dot. This is something, we call it a bindi. You see me wearing something on the top of, in my forehead. And we keep the bindi for girls. And so I'm just going to put that in her. Yeah, that's a small dot. That changes the look of her a little bit, but just traditionally, the Lakshmi avatar having that in the and ever so lightly I'm darkening the sides and giving that depth. Yeah, changing the look of her when you do it. Very careful with it. Yeah. Going to add a little bit of darkness right around the area where her tiara is. Sort of creating a shadow for her tiara on her head. And when we work on the tiara details, it will only help complement them. Yeah, I guess we have managed the facial details fine. I could do a little more with the eyebrows, but I'm just being cautious, adding a tiny bit of tonalities here and there. Yeah, yes, that is fine. I need highlights on her hair again. Going with yellow ochre this time to do some strokes. Leaving locks of hair in some cross angles also. And traces of white to show those angular, shifts in those locks of hair. Okay. Guess he looks fine. Let's leave it there and focus on the body as such. Now, whatever we have done in the hands, it's good enough, but then we need to align this to the color tonality that we have just built, building in that, sharpening that reality there. So, with the brush that we had taken initially, that was a brush number 1, to go around and do the highlighting with the colors. in the sections needed where the shine is going to be and such. And we need to really look at the way her hands are in the picture. So we don't have the hands here, so we have to refer to the main image of Lakshmi, Dhanya Lakshmi here. The highlights are working already. Now we move on to a micro brush for some detailing with the hands as well. So let's look at how the hands are placed. Does she have anything else than the elements that we have already placed? Seems not. So let's work on the hands the way we worked on the face. What did we do? We had taken that crimson and burnt umber mix to do the contours and shade it a little bit. So I'm going to give that trace a little bit around the areas where I wanted to darken. Yeah, and then I think need another clean brush to work on this. This good one, I suppose. Yeah, taking a bit of skin color again and going over this to see how far it goes. It does the job of highlighting, but because I would need to do a little more bolder move here in blending things together here slightly. See, what's happening here is that the color is shifting a little bit and I want to avoid that, and so I'm going to take a slightly lighter tonality to blend in here. And the consistency is also flowy, so I am mindful of that. I'm working on pushing the colors along in all the sections first, and then we'll work on using highlights, and also we need to remember to do a bit of nails. That's the challenge here. We haven't done nails as such. Okay. Right, I need I'm blending in the colors ever so lightly. And remember, we also changed the design of the um, jewelry that she has in her bangles, the bangles. So we need to also fill in sections where the skin is going to appear now instead of, the space of the bangle. We take it very slow and steady. Soon you'll see that the change appears the way we did the face. And remember, when you do the fingers, you want to highlight the fingers in a way that you can see the partitions in the finger. So it's really minute detail. It's gonna make a difference there. Hmm. Mhm. Okay, so I'm just sporadically moving around, so I'm quiet because I'm just sporadically moving around and blending the colors in and just seeing from a distance if that is really, fitting what we have done for her face. Looks like we could play around with the darkening a little bit, so I'm going to take the risk of, adding a slight bit of burnt umber here, a trace of burnt umber here, blending that. So really a thin layer there. You don't want it to show like a contour here. You just want that darkness to appear to give the effect of, a hand coming from there. Yes. So looks like it is working, and I'm going to use the micro brush only to blend it in ever so lightly. So I've just given that darker tonality there to highlight, to give the effect of hand coming from there. Yes, the strokes, giving that depth there. Okay, and I want to do that every in those sections where possibly there is this, other hands that are coming up. So those sections, I want to bring it down like that. So I'm really adding tiny traces of burnt umber black. So risky, so just be careful with this. Shading and slightly, ever so lightly pull that around, blend it around. Add skin tonality if you want to lighten it up a bit. So you get that effect of hands being right behind. Carefully doing those strokes. You just want it to look like, it is right behind. So you'll have to use also the lighter tonalities in a short while. So remember, wherever you have highlighted, you need to do the opposite of it also in the hand that is lying in front. So really kind of showing where are things coming to the front and where exactly are things going to the back. So this is coming to the front. This is coming to the front for me. And this stroke is coming to the front. This is coming to the front. This is coming to the front. Yeah. Likewise, I would do the same thing here, bringing things to the front. Yeah. I guess the strokes are done. Blending needed. I'm going to blend this ever so lightly. So it's not titanium white, it's the lightest of the skin color that I had used. I'm happy with the way these two hands are appearing. Now I need to work on the rest. Just taking one at a time, one stroke at a time, and seeing how things are going. And I have to work on the fingers still. This is, you have seen that from our previous lessons that this session usually is slightly intense because we are working on skin tones and the reference point is the picture that we used for her face, but this one, the hands, are something that we are also working on, really using our creativity. The references could help a little bit, but not too much because we need to refer to the skin tone here on the canvas. hmm So I guess the hands have sort of sorted out. The highlights in the hands or the arms, sorry, need to be given. I'm just taking a bit of titanium white to see if I could add and give some highlights in some of those places and blend that in. And whenever I say I'm taking titanium white, it doesn't mean that I'm taking the direct white. Yes, I am taking in the color that is blended a little bit with the skin color. Mhm. So what we are working on really is slightly transparent. So whatever you are seeing is actually um, a part of layer 4 as well. So that should be the case. You should not be hiding it totally. Just be aware of that. Mhm. Yeah, I guess I have managed the hands a bit. It looks awesome. I need some contours to be strongly determined the same way we did the um, her face. So I'm just adding slight traces of the dark burnt umber um, that we did for her face here on the arms, and like a thin pencil stroke. It's really, really minute stroke that I'm doing, and it could blend well with the color there. So it gives a clear angle here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess this looks fine. I need a bit of what is missing here is the nice orangey or this color that I added to her face. That is missing here in some places that I want to add boldly and blend in again. Uh, Wiping off the excess, I'm just going to blend that in. That gave a nice angle to her color skin tone. Yeah, I liked it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now it feels like, the hand and the body, the face color are slightly in sync. Now let's focus on the fingers and be done with it. The fingers need, yeah, similar highlights. So where is the lighter highlight coming? Usually when you are holding something, the thumb is visible to the front. So you want to bring that to the front and darken slightly the finger that is behind. So that's one technique that I would suggest um, when you're highlighting. So I'm working on the thumb angles first with the lighter tonality, so almost close to the white tonality, and then I'll work on the details. So if that is coming to the front, then what is behind? Yes, I would use a slight bit of the darker tonality to pull that back, which is the burnt umber. And also the crimson and burnt umber combination, it works. You just look at it where you want to have that blush kind of a thing. done, and then you are, adding that. And now we'll have to work on a slight tint of white. What is that? It's really on the fingers that where you want to show the um, fingernail to be visible, ain't it? So we work on the fingernails also to show the fingernails in some of those. And when you show the thumb, remember it's half of the nail that will be visible. So trying a bit to add that lighter, fingernail visible on the uh, thumb, giving the effect there is something that, you're only suggesting, so just be aware of it. You're not going to go really with a lot of detailing there. It's a minute spot also. Yes. And then where else are fingernails visible? Some of the fingers are really up close that in a manner you could see that there is possibility of fingernails being visible. So you're going to do that. Just imagine the angle of the finger, and maybe you can make your own, fists like that to see if they are holding something. Where is the fingernail going to be visible and where not? Yes. Let's give some more highlights of the skin tones here. Okay, now for the blush of the skin tone, I'm just adding a little bit of those shades to the sides. Mm-hmm. We are nearly there. Take it with patience, and we are nearly there with the finish of our skin tone. Yeah? So show some depth in the skin tone in the area where the palm, the centroid of the palm. There is some sort of shades that you want to give the effect of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess we are nearly there with the close of this session. I am checking one more time. Have I missed anything? Yeah, I guess the same way that we did the depth, let's do the burnt umber thin strokes around those contours. Yeah, nearly there, nearly there. Couple of minutes and. Hmm. I guess I will make a stop at this and take a look at her, how she's looking. I think she's looking pretty. Yeah. So what we did today was really working on the nuances, trying to build in some more depth, shades, and the skin tones, and trying to see where all we could build in some sort of connection to building the storyline and connection to showing that this is a small little girl um, from Denmark. um, yes, so I'm just creating that fold in her elbow, shading it slightly. Mhm. And I think we are done with this. Let me know how you found this, and if you think you're finding it difficult, you need any help, you're welcome to reach out to me. Support at the Glaze Studio, the TK. Um, Write to me, share pictures of what you have done, and let's see if there is something that we could discuss over a call, a Teams call, Zoom call, and such, to learn from each other and see if I could help you in some way and guide you in some way. So the logic is that we are trying to bring in as much reality as possible and making her come up alive. And of course, this is a process, a learning process. If you have achieved really better than what I have did, I'm just proud of you. If you think, please do not compare too much. Of course, there is a bit of comparison needed when you're following the tutorial, that you are reaching some stages. But if it doesn't come, measure your success through what your growth is, where you want to grow with, and what exactly what do you want to learn out of this. And if you think that you needed more guidance, you're welcome to reach out to me, of course. So this is work in progress, and we will meet up in the next session where we are going to work on the jewelry details. And once we are done with the jewelry details, we look at the other elements that she's got in her hands and on the lotus flower. And that's when we call it a finish with the painting. Until we meet in the next lesson, stay blessed, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay curious, stay motivated to see this painting through the finish line. Yes, let's meet up in the next session. Until such time, take care. Bye bye.